I love being in Seattle. It's dope here, you know. Feels like if Brooklyn had mountains. Yeah, it's just a more relaxed, seemingly relaxed pace of life here than I'm used to. Because even y'all's, I'm not critiquing, I'm just noticing. Even y'all's crime is at a slower pace. Yeah, I mean, like y'all still got crime and everything, but when it happens, it's like everybody's like, "Oh yeah, that is illegal." This didn't happen this time, but years ago, I was in Seattle and I saw, it was a very confusing sight. I don't know what I saw, but what it looked like from the outside, looking in Brooklyn to Seattle, what it looked like was this woman's purse had been stolen. But the thief and the woman weren't running. I think that's what confused us all, because we were, like, one of two things was happening, all right? Either a couple had an argument, the man walked away forgetting he had been holding his girlfriend's purse. So he walking off in a huff, and then she following him because maybe she knows whatever she said went a little too far this time. Or a man with very little commitment to his craft stole a woman's purse and then casually walked off. And then a woman who must not care about the purse decided, I'll go get it. It was so confusing because the man was walking, and he was walking like casually. He's just walking, holding the purse, but just walking. And then the woman behind him is like, hey. And then at one point she leaned towards the purse to grab, the strap. And the man was like, huh. That's when I had to reassess the whole situation. Because what if it was not this woman's purse? What if this woman is the lazy thief? What if this man is just trying to have a day out with his purse, and this woman who likes the purse is like, I would like to have that, and I don't plan on paying or running. And they just continue like that down the street. Hey. I watched them do this into the distance. I didn't want to get involved because you ever get involved in an argument and you pick the wrong side, and now you don't know where you stand. You see two people arguing and everything. It's like you try to step in, try to be not necessarily a hero, but just a good Samaritan. Hey, what's the problem here, right? And then you feel like at the end of this thing you should have just left it alone. One time, I was doing a bar show, and we get out of the bar show, and in the parking lot is this couple having this shouting match, and this big old dude and this tiny woman, and he's not moving in a way that's threatening her, but he is like just yelling at her real loud, and she's yelling too, but he's got a booming voice, and she just can't match his level, and they are getting like a little closer. He's still not like bucking up or anything. It's just, if anything, she's walking up to him, I guess to make her point, a little bit more clearly. And so, I don't know, my friends and I saw this, and I just walked over, just being like, hey, y'all good? What's with all this yelling? And admittedly, I was talking to him. This is a big old dude yelling at this tiny woman. And I'm in my head, I'm like, all right, hopefully, if I step in, somebody will back me up. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not big enough to stop him, and I don't know the proper techniques, but if I throw myself at him and somebody else is coming, then maybe together we could come up with something to do. And so he's yelling, she's yelling. I'm like, hey, y'all good? Y'all good? What's up? What's up? Calm down, bro. What's up? And then he's like, she poisoned my dog. Because I had everybody looking at me for when I said, I'm going to go say something. And then they heard that part, and then I'm like, I wish I was over there with y'all, because y'all were in the minding your business section. That looks like a better section to be in. And I didn't know what to do, because I don't know what their history is, but if the most recent thing that has happened is the poisoning of the dog, if the only thing that has happened is the poisoning of the dog, I think he might be in the right to raise his voice, to have a little volume, you know? I don't know the condition of the dog. And so he says that to me, and in the moment, they had both stopped yelling. They were both looking at me. And then the people who I left, my friends from the show, were also looking at me. And in my head, I'm like, well, this really shouldn't be on me. Like that's crazy. I came over to diffuse the situation, and then I became diffused. And so I'm like, hey, what's going on? What's going on? She poisoned my dog. And then everybody's just staring. And so I'm looking at my friends, and I turn back to those two, and I go from looking at him to looking at her, and I go, stop it. Nah, I hate picking the wrong side. It sucks. I've been watching the news, and I can't help but be taken aback what's going on between people and the companies that these people buy from. Target, they know. Believe me. Target has been in more than hot water. They've been boycotted this year because Target, they're an interesting case because they took it upon themselves to try to be, or at least seem, super inclusive of everyone. Now, these companies aren't people. They're trying to make money, and the hope there is that everyone will want to spend their money here if we look like we're for everybody. That's the idea that goes into it, and a lot of people would say that that's just good business. You want to appeal to as many people as possible, so as many people as possible buy your product or products, right? And so they did that. They took it upon themselves to be the place where it's like, look, Target, you can come here, you can get anything. It doesn't matter who you are. We'll make up products just for you. All right? When your month comes around, we're going to make products. We're going to make products that nobody ever made before because nobody asked for. We are going to blow your mind with our products just for you. And they did every year. They managed to blow my mind by making a product that, as a black person, I never knew I didn't want to see. Black History Month would come around, and then they'd hit you with something where you're like, do you know any black people? Every product that Target came up with for black people during Black History Month felt like they came up with it off a rumor. Do you ever, in my head, I'm like, there's no way a black person pitched this thing, you know? It would just be like, it would be like grape flavored. You're groaning like you didn't see it too. Like, it should be like grape flavored root beer or something. It'd be like, all right, I don't know who told you to do this. They would come out with stuff that made you go, okay, well, even if a black person pitched you this, there's no way you're gonna make enough money off of this new product to make it worth it. Like, in my head, I was like, selling this for a month doesn't make sense. I think you can have a lot of leftover grape flavored root beer with nowhere to go. And so Target didn't just do it to, black people, they did it to everybody. All of my friends got a special month at Target that made them go, huh, this is odd. And they never got the response that they wanted. Like, I'm sure Target was like, oh, they'll love this. It's Pride Month, they'll love this. But none, not a single one, not any of my queer friends ever said, oh, we gotta get down to Target. They got that rainbow volleyball. You know that rainbow volleyball that we love, because rainbow is our whole personality. You know how we've never wanted anything unless it was rainbow. people do to queer people with rainbow what they do to like black people with products sometimes, where they'll be like, I don't know how to market it to black, just make it music, I guess. Try to get more black people to, I don't know, eat at Burger King. They're like, what about some drums? And so that's one of the things, is that Target in their efforts would sometimes still get into like these mini scandals off of people being like, what's the plan here? Some people would be offended sometimes. And then, there's obviously the thing online where people would get mad at the people getting offended. They're offended, the people are offended. And then they take up for Target, kind of, but then they don't even want the product. It's not like they want the product. And so they're taking up for Target because they're like, hey, we like grape flavored root beer over here, right? That never happened. It was always someone like, they made it for you, why are you so offended, right? And then taking up for Target as if they want a rainbow volleyball. Very weird. It's like a very weird investment to get into like a product that nobody is buying. And then Target would try to like sidestep, they try to come up with something else. It would be worse. It'd be so much worse. Next year, they're like, we're going to do right by everybody. This product is going to kill them. All right. They're going to love it. Watermelon paper plates. And then they see the article and they're like, okay, maybe that was bad. I don't know. Maybe, how was I supposed to know? It's not like any black people are like in the C-suite, so. There was one too that cracked me up. This one genuinely is very funny to me. Like none of them really offended me, but I really couldn't get offended at this one because it was so funny. So basically, Black History Month came around and they had made a bunch of like prominent black leaders, these magnets with a bunch of prominent black leaders on them, and all of the magnets were like labeled to the wrong person. Like, it was you could just tell whoever did it that day. Like, they were looking at Booker T. Washington, they were like, Muhammad Ali. Like, just don't know who that product's for. Like, personally, I just don't know. Yeah, I don't know who is like, oh, life is good. It's almost perfect. But you know what I don't have? Martin Luther King on my fridge. And sometimes people were more than just offended by these products. Sometimes people felt like that this was like a direct mocking or something, you know, and so then they would boycott Target. And a lot of these previous boycotts, I don't really know how much market value, I don't really know how much stock went down, because there wasn't really a unified front on some of these boycotts. I'm sure they hurt, but they didn't make news in how much they hurt, you know. And then in 2020, in the wake of George Floyd's murder, right, Target, like a lot of companies, made pledges. They made pledges. Target pledged somewhere in the neighborhood of like $2 billion to black businesses over time, and $100 million to black communities also over time. And yeah, that was you know, you look back at 2020 and you remember 22. You remember what everybody was like, we gonna stop being racist. Remember that? Remember in 2020, I mean, we were all in our rooms. Everybody was like, who would I even be racist to? They're not here. You know how hard it is to be racist when they not even here. You know, we're going to stop it. We're all going to stop it. Companies pledge to stop it. People pledge to stop it. And then we got outside and we were like, oh, I remember. This is America. Come on now. We got to do a little racism. We said it, but come on, we said a lot of things, all right? We said we were going to learn another language. We didn't do that either. We were inside. You say crazy stuff when you get cabin fever, like, I'll stop being racist. No. And so then you have the next few years where Target themselves, no one was talking to Target that I know of. Nobody had put a target on Target to like be the great hope of black business. They got involved. They were like, and we'll do $2 billion, but nobody was looking at them that I know of. They just inserted themselves, you know, like an annoying person would. And they made a big pledge. That's a big pledge. Even if you were a multi-billion-dollar company, $2 billion is like a lot. And so you see, when Target gets all into all the diversity, all the inclusivity and everything, that's just to try to make money. I hope we can all understand that. And not just because they betrayed the things that they said that they cared about like 5 years ago. I think even when they were saying it, even when it was happening, we were like, okay. I look at a company making promises about how much its mission cares about people, multi-billion-dollar company. I look at that the way I look at like sexting. If you've ever been sexted before, depending on who it is, you've read the message and you've said to yourself, the thing I say to myself when I read the mission statement of $1 billion company, you're not gonna do all that. No, that's a lie. That's a lie. And I don't even know where this money was supposed to go or where it started going or if it was just for the press release. I have no idea. But I know that when Trump won, Trump immediately, day one, was like, we're going to get rid of DEI. We're going to get rid of all of these programs. We want everything to be merit-based and fair. So obviously we have to get rid of as many people as possible. who earn their position over time. And so that's what he did. He started making moves immediately. And then Target, once again, could have done nothing. That's what's so crazy about the situation Target's in. They could have said nothing. Nobody was checking for the watermelon paper plates. In fact, if a Black History Month went by and Target didn't make a new product, we probably would have thought, wow, good on you. Y'all really have learned from your ways. Y'all really a regular store now. You're not trying to help or anything. You're not throwing out, Malcolm X, but it's Michael Jackson. Y'all are just being a regular store where I can go buy regular paper plates. They didn't have to say anything, but then Target came out once again, inserting themselves like an annoying person would, and being like, hey, we're getting rid of DEI too. People were like, oh, okay. Once again, no one was talking to you. And look, these are moves that are made for money. That's what they always were. Even when I heard about those pledges from Target, it didn't make me go, oh, Target, you care about me? I was like, all right, yeah, I guess the next time I'm on my way home, I need one of those toothpick things. The thing that's like floss, but it has a handle. I guess if I need one of those and Target is on the way home, maybe I'll buy it at Target. That's as much as it moved me. But just because I didn't have a business and I didn't really know what this pledge meant, so it didn't change my mind about Target. I don't care about Target enough for my mind to be changed. I just went on about my life. And then whenever they made this statement of we're getting rid of all of our DEI too, I was like, guys, I still don't care about you. You can't move me one way or the other. There are other stores on the way home. But people who either were pledged that money or have been watching Target to make sure they kept their word, they noticed that statement. And they noticed that it's pretty convenient to get all the social capital out of making a pledge. A $2 billion pledge and a $100 million pledge that you haven't had to come up good on. And now you're going to end it just in time to not really have to get into it. That's very convenient. And so then there were people who called them up on it. They were like, all right, look, a pledge is a pledge. You can label it however you want, but you said publicly that you would be donating this money. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to boycott. We're going to boycott Target. And then this Target boycott started. And a lot of people poo-pooed it initially. A lot of people were like, Target gets boycotted all the time. Didn't you hear about the grape-flavored root beer? But this thing was different. And there's a lot of numbers in it. There's a lot of numbers to the tune of $100 million to more than $2 billion. This thing takes off, really takes off. And I found out about it late. I did. I'll tell you right now. I found out about the Target boycott very, very late. And I don't mean very, very late as in yesterday. I found out about it when I was in Target. I was in Target. And then there was somebody also in Target leaned over to me and was like, hey, we don't shop here right now. You got to see this from my perspective real quick. From my perspective, I had gone into a store. Into a store. I'm not thinking about his Target. I went into a store to get what I needed to get. And then while shopping, I was approached by someone who was like, we don't shop here right now. You know how perplexing that is? so many things were going through my head at one time. Because the first thing is like, we don't shop here right now. In my head, I'm like, all right, do you work at like Walmart or something? Like, do you? What's your deal, right? Then I had another thought. I was like, okay, all right, we don't shop here right now. But you're in here. I said, but you're in here. And they were like, I'm in here to let people know we don't shop here right now. And I was like, oh, interesting and effective. Like I wasn't aware. It's just so funny to have somebody in the store to let people know we don't shop at the store. It just feels like the most, it's just the most like, what's it called? It's the most civility I've seen in what must feel like to the store, robbing the store. Because I put that, like in my hand, I had the toothpick with the handle, and I was like, oh, I already had it in my hand, but I guess I can put it back. And then I walked out, and that's money that they didn't make. It's like that thing is effective. And so I didn't buy the toothpick thing. I left, right? And in my head, I left, but I was also like, all right, that thing was like $6, so I guess they didn't get my $6, but hopefully they really needed it. Hopefully that $6. I love when a company who's done something bad need the money bad. Like, like when somebody needs the money bad, they're like, hey, look, brother, look. If you can hold me over with this $8. And so, I left. I went to CVS. To my knowledge, they hadn't done anything, so felt like a safe place to get the toothpicks. I've had something in between my teeth the entire day, so I need it desperately. Even when the man was telling me we don't shop here right now, he was like, ooh, you got. And so I left. And wasn't really sure what would come of it. And then on the way home, I'd see Target and be like, yeah, whatever. I'll make it to CVS. It's 2 more blocks. Really not knowing, because a boycott now is different than a boycott from the past. A boycott from the past, you had to. It was imperative that you used your body and your voice to be there in real time. You had to go there. You had to go out. You had to pick it outside of the store to let people know how you felt about the store. And the numbers that you had, it sort of dictated the narrative, because they couldn't run. They had newspapers that they could maybe run some ads in or try to create a narrative, but nobody could argue with what they saw with their own eyes. Not yet. It wasn't present day. Because now, if you want to boycott, you have options. You have options you never had in the past. You can be there with your voice, with your body, right? Or you could be online organizing a different picket line, organizing a different room full of people in agreement with you, outrage at this company, you think they've done something wrong. And it doesn't even have to be a worthy cause. Truly, that's what's crazy about it. It's like, it's the same as it's always been, but there's just different avenues to do those same things. So now you have the benefit. Instead of needing to fly everyone who cares about this thing and thinks this thing to the same space that you're in right now to be in a picket line with you, so you can show the company that hundreds, maybe even thousands of people feel this way, you can just be online. These companies, they're trying to be just like us. They're trying to act and behave like people. They want you to think of them as a person, which is why they do things to try to ingratiate themselves to you like a person would. They make pledges of things they'll do, things that maybe would ingratiate you to them and feel like they're your friend. They're not your friend, they're a corporation. But You can use the fact that they want to seem like a person to you to let them know how you feel about them. That's access that has never happened until now, you know? And so you get all of these people doing it at one time, and it does have a compound effect. Because it's not as visible as it was in 50s, 60s, 70s, I think we sometimes lose a little bit of hope and a little bit of understanding of what a boycott can do, of what a protest can do, because it seems like these companies have so much money that they can never be brought back down. But that's just not true. You know, you look at Target from then to now, and I know market valuations go up and down. I know they fluctuate. Things are not set in stone just because they go bad for a while, but them going bad for a while is a wake-up call to the company. And people boycotted Target, even up until present day. I don't know when it'll be over, to be honest with you. I really don't know when I can go in Target again. And I'm not thirsty to go in Target again. I'm just like, it's on the way home, and I just have to keep reminding myself, like, no, we not, no, right? But Target has lost more than it promised. Target's lost more than $100 million, and has lost more than the $2 billion that it pledged. You know, by the most recent estimate that I saw, and it could be different on a different day, it could be different in this moment, but Target, through this boycott, has lost somewhere in the neighborhood of $12.4 billion in market value. And it's because of people boycotting. I think a boycott is also difficult to wrap your head around sometimes because it's not doing something. You know what I mean? It's not, you aren't. It's not like like when you go and protest, you went and you protested, and now your throat is sore, your feet tired. But a boycott is like, don't. Like like y'all are doing it right now. Like y'all are boycotting Target right now. You just don't go. Because I'm like chronically online, sometimes people get upset about stuff, and I don't get it because it's not my thing to be upset about. Like it's not, maybe it's not my culture, or I don't have the connection to it that other people have. So, you know, I don't necessarily take all outrage seriously, but when people are upset, I try to hear them out to a point. Doesn't mean I'm going to agree, but I'm like, let's see why this is such a big deal. And I didn't know about the attack on culture that's been happening this week. I didn't realize how bad things are out here. I didn't know. Admittedly, I didn't know. I looked into it as soon as I did. I had no idea the impact of changing the Cracker Barrel logo. I didn't know what this would do to people. Now, if you're sitting there wondering, what is Cracker Barrel? If you were sitting there wondering, what is Cracker Barrel? You've lived a good life. If you're sitting there wondering what Cracker Barrel is, you are doing perfectly fine. But just to bring you up to speed, it is a restaurant, a sit-down restaurant, and they have a side that is restaurant. They have a side that's like little gift shop, knickknacks and stuff. It's very cute. I grew up in the South, so I grew up with Cracker Barrel, right? And Cracker Barrel, they look. Listen to me, all right? Sometimes something happens, and everyone is so reactionary now that like they don't form their opinion authentically. I saw this and I didn't care. And when you don't care, you're able to be at least a little bit closer to objective, right? So I saw what was happening. And they changed the Cracker Barrel logo. If you've never seen the Cracker Barrel logo, get ready. As far as logos go, it does the job. It says Cracker Barrel, And then there's a barrel. And then there's a guy next to the barrel, right? And the guy next to the barrel posted up. The guy next to the barrel is out here feeling himself. He's over here like... And the new logo says Cracker Barrel with really nothing else, or really like just two ovals around it. It is objectively worse. I understand that the people upset are making it about something that I at least don't think it's about, right? Because there were people that saw them get rid of the guy and the barrel, and then they were like, this. The first impression was of someone who had a stroke over it. But people genuinely were like, this is insane. This can't stand. This is white genocide. Listen to me. I'm no expert, and I could be wrong. I'm wrong all the time. But I'm pretty sure that just as many white people are alive after they changed the logo as there were before the logo change. And any people who have sadly passed was incidental. I don't think it had anything to do with the Cracker Barrel logo change specifically. And look, I don't know who this dude was I don't know if somebody just drew him or if that's like the founder. I don't know, because admittedly I didn't care enough to get into it. But all I know is that look, I'm not on their side as far as everything they're saying, but this is a worse logo. Like, it just is. They basically did the Washington football team to white people. They just up there saying what it is and not giving us anything else. Nah, it's rough. It really, that's bad. Especially with that guy, I don't know. Y'all did it. It said Cracker Barrel, and then there was the barrel, and then there was the guy. Y'all being rude, not me. And so, yeah, Cracker Barrel was facing immense backlash, threats of a boycott. They done with Cracker Barrel over here. And admittedly, look, if we're talking business for a second, just business, it is kind of wild that the CEO said something to the effect, this is what I've read, the CEO said something to the effect of, MAGA doesn't have to eat here, we'll respect their decision not to, right? So they got directly called out. They got directly called out by this CEO. I don't even know what prompted it. I don't know what the question was that led to that answer. But I will say, look, we talking business, from business. Remember, business. I'm gonna throw it out there, and I could be wrong. I love being wrong. I could be wrong, but I do think they were the only ones eating there. So, like, That would be like the dude at the Red Hat Company being like, we don't need MAGA. It's like, unless there's a new baseball team, I think you might. No, it was truly wild. And now MAGA's had a insane backlash. Look, I don't know what's bots and what's actually people upset. All I know is I've seen a lot of tweets. A lot of tweets being like, I can't believe, look at these. You know what's funny too? It's like sometimes people get mad at you and they start describing you in their anger. And it doesn't sound as bad as they think it sounds, but because it's what they're mad at you about, it sounds bad. I saw this one tweet that was like, look at this woman. She single-handedly tanked Cracker Barrel stock because she wanted to be a woke girl boss. She wanted to put her whole life into her career, and then she rose to the level of CEO, only to tank the company, though. She tanked the company. And yes, she's a young CEO, but she tanked the company. I'm just like, as you list the thing, like as I was reading the tweet, I was like, I mean, outside of like 8 of these words, this is a good LinkedIn profile. That's why it almost felt like a bot, because it was like complimentary and angry at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, after her departure from this company, she came to Cracker Barrel, where she quickly rose through the ranks, only to tank the company, but quickly rose through the ranks. Okay. And like, that's the other thing that's frustrating about being online right now is like, because so many people are not clear with the joke they're trying to make, I don't know what is a joke as far as like the remodel and redesign of Cracker Barrel, because that's also what's happening. They changed the logo, but changing the logo is what companies do when they're just floating something. They're just throwing the idea out there to sort of test the market reaction. Maybe they've already actually changed the logo, but it's very easy for a company to tweet out from the company account, what do y'all think about this logo? And do your market research that way. It's simple enough. But they said that not only were they changing the logo, they were going to remodel and redesign 500 locations, is at least what I read. And I saw a picture of the redesign. Look, I already wasn't eating at Cracker Barrel, so it's really like no stress to me. But for those that love Cracker Barrel, I was a little stressed out for them because they really trying to modernize it, I guess. And the reactions to it were interesting. The reactions to it, it blew my mind a little bit. Because there were people genuinely being like, this is an erasure of American culture, and it is an erasure of white culture, like white heritage and everything. And like, I've been to a Cracker Barrel, and yes, it's very white, but like, I'm not even saying Cracker Barrel is bad. I'm just saying like, I'm trying to like figure out how to word this. Like, it's like, if you want to just talk about like white culture, like if you concerned with like white heritage, it's just Cracker Barrel should be so low on that you know what I mean? I've grown up around white people. I've known white people my whole life, and very few have ever mentioned Cracker Barrel when it wasn't at the next exit. Like, I didn't know it meant this much to white people. That's ignorant of me. I am sorry to be walking around in America of all places, not knowing how important this was I don't know. I'm not gonna speak for anybody, but I feel like even white people read that and were like, no. I've had Cracker Barrel because, I've been on the road, and I've always had it when it was like the last stop. It was like you either eat now, because they know where to put the Cracker Barrel. You either eat now, or you wait 35 minutes until the saddest McDonald's. You know what I mean? It's either like, look, you either have a burger or some pancakes, or you wait 35 minutes to be poisoned. You can decide. You can either have a little too much syrup on your pancakes, or, have the Snickers flavored hemlock. It just makes me mad. They're not even trying to be food anymore. They're like, no, we put the fryer is in the floor now. Like, we just... It doesn't change. It does not change. I have a friend he's sweet. He's a good person. He's a very good person. But he is like gross. That's just a fact. I'm not being mean. I've told him to his face. And he has before, eaten in his car to the point of not knowing that he had like a wrapper in his car, and to the point of like maybe not finishing his meal in the car, going inside, and to the point of having an old burger in his car for quite a while. And a McDonald's burger, to be fair, not just picking on McDonald's here, any burger left out for long, for days, for road trips will smell. My problem is a McDonald's burger left in your car for a month. Stop smelling. Food is supposed to go through a process. Whatever that food is, it could be fruits, it could be vegetables, it could be meats, right? It could be everything except like maybe seeds are supposed to go through a change. They get to a point where they're growing, they get to a point where they're ripe. Even if it's meat, you get to a point where the animal is killed, the animal is prepared, and then the meat is there to be eaten. Even with processed food, the process is usually to extend the shelf life of the food, but there's still a time to eat it and a time to not. And the fact that McDonald's goes through the process, like the burger goes through the process, they actually, I think, kill a cow. They actually, I assume, make a burger. And then they actually sell it to you. And then maybe you get two, and then you only have time to eat one. And then maybe it falls off the passenger seat, and then it slides back because you were making a sharp left turn because you don't know how to drive. So you change lanes last minute when you're on the highway like a lunatic who's trying to get killed, who's trying to be injured in a car accident. And so you swerve, and then that swerve slides the burger under the seat, and you go about your life. You get home, you go to work the next day, you come home, you go to work the next day, you come home, and you do start to smell something. But because you're gross, you're not going to do anything about it. You just sort of know that you smell it. You're aware that there is a smell. You just are thinking about it sometimes like, never mind. That's the thought process of someone who is nasty. Because you know it's in your car, you know it's here, and you recognize it from before, from the last time you went, probably not a big deal, probably not worth addressing. And then you wait. You wait until a friend, a good friend, a person who is not nasty, person named Josh gets in your car because you offered them a ride. And when you take one of your famous left turns and almost hit the car in front of you, you slam on the brake. And when you slam on the brake, something slides to the front of the... Something hits poor Josh's foot. Josh, being inquisitive, looks down and sees a fully wrapped McDonald's burger and reaches down, and there's a feeling of the burger. A little tough. And I'm like, oh, your burger fell. And then you disgusting freak, you go, what burger? And I'm like, this burger. And then I hold up the burger, and then you go, I've been at McDonald's in weeks. And then Josh goes, oh. It's either that or Cracker Barrel, okay? And look, a part of me understands where people are coming from. A part of me understands that some people hate change. Some people love the nostalgia of going to Cracker Barrel. Some people they like it as a restaurant and they would prefer it stay the same. That's actually pretty normal. I even get upset sometimes when a grocery store that I like switches up the aisles a little bit. They're like, actually, we figured that the noodles should go over with the pasta. We had broken it up by ethnicity of the foods, and then we were worried that looked bad. So then we just put every noodle-shaped thing together. The noodles, the pasta, even just long sticks, they all on the same aisle right now because we're one people. We don't want to break people off and make people be like, oh, you're not as good, you gotta go further in the store and to aisle 8 because you like this sort of noodle. We just put everything in one. Even then, even when that's their reason, I'm like, ugh, why'd you have to change it? I knew where it was. Now I gotta be in here longer. And so I get people who are like, I just don't like it. I don't get people who are like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. That always ends up, I don't know, people always end up telling on themselves in that regard. If this is the worst thing that's ever happened to you, that a company you don't own changed their logo that you only looked at when you went. I don't know who loves Cracker Barrel enough to have the logo in a frame and kiss that picture every night before bed. I don't know what sort of Cracker Barrel freaks are out there. But yeah, the backlash has been stiff. It was swift. It happened quickly. They announced this change, and then they lost, apparently, $100 million in market value. I didn't know there were that many people to be upset about Cracker Barrel in dollars. I don't know if Cracker Barrel could afford that. The knickknacks are only like $2, so. No, they're in hot water right now. You just never think of the word valuation when you think of Cracker Barrel. Do you know what I mean? Like if Cracker Barrel, if they had been talking about Cracker Barrel on like Wolf of Wall Street, it would have been because the main character was smoking crack out of a barrel. You know what I mean? Like, wild to me that people are this upset. And I don't know, that's what I find interesting about like boycotts and protests sometimes, is that it just needs to be intentional to be effective, you know? And it could happen to any company. They forget that all the time, that it could happen to any of them, you know? But it just doesn't happen often enough. You know, they've consolidated to a point, they've built up monopolies to a point where if you're going to participate, you have to buy from one of them or some of them some of the time. And that's the situation we find ourselves in, you know. And then it's nice when you get a little glimmer of hope when people decide to, you know, vote with their dollar and say, if this is how you feel about me, Target, then nah, then no. And then, while you may not be Target's #1 customer, you may not be a Target head. Them not getting your $350, them not getting your $26.42, them not getting your $100, them not getting your $5, them not getting your $3, them not getting your $485 you're moving, them not getting all manner of money from you starts to equal up to about $100 million. And because of the system that we live in, you know, very few of us, and I say us as in all of America, will have that much money to move. That is a very minute part of the entire population that has that amount of money to move, but together we have that much money to move, you know? And because these companies are not people, because people you can reason with, people can understand something that is based in logic, you know? But companies don't. Companies only understand gains and losses. And so the only way to make them understand is to make them lose. And make them lose so much that it hurts, and it really hurts. And then maybe when it really hurts, they'll make a change, not because better people are there, not because they fired a CEO and then hired a better person as a CEO. I don't know that many CEOs, but I imagine at a certain point, they have a similar outlook on the company and a similar outlook on the employees. I think that because of the system that we've built when it comes to corporations, you're gonna find very few compassionate CEOs or just incredibly reasonable people who want to do what's best for the customer. That might be what they say, but what the company does is different. And so I think that inside of all of that, you make the company hurt until someone comes along and maybe their background is in accounting, maybe they're a sociologist, who knows, maybe they started in PR, but they know we have to reverse course or else the hurt will continue. And then you get what you want. You get what you boycotted for, what you protested for. These things are still possible, and it is simple, it is not easy, and it doesn't happen overnight. It takes a long time. We are at an advantage. We're at an advantage that the people in the 50s, 60s, and 70s weren't at, because we don't need to be there all the time with our body using our specific voice. We can organize online. We can organize in person as well. We can build community around a cause. And then we can exact that cause to the tune of $100 million, you know? And then when that thing happens, maybe the next company will go, but you know what happened to Target.
Did y'all see the Alabama brawl? Yo, who knew Wakanda was in Alabama? That was crazy. You know, that was wild. So many people came out of nowhere. That shit was like Black January 6th. That was like, that was crazy. If you didn't see the video, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll explain it really quick. Basically, there was this one guy. He was an employee of the place, right? And he was like asking these people to move their boat, you know? So it was a black employee, but he was asking these people who happened to be white that had the boat to move their boat, and they wouldn't move the boat. I don't even know if this part is true, but I heard that the riverfront boat that was waiting to dock had been waiting for like 40 minutes because these people refused to move, right? So finally, he just keeps going, like, you gotta move the boat, you gotta move the boat. They get out of their boat, they're cursing at him, and he's not backing down. He's like, you have to move the boat. I work here. You have to move the boat. And then they just keep cursing at him. Finally, they put hands on him, and then they start fighting him. And he did his best. He held his own for quite a while. So it's not like they beat his ass, but they were clearly ganging up on this dude, right? And, you know, a lot of people, as soon as they saw the video, they got upset. I got upset once. I thought it was going to bum me out just seeing like 5 white dudes ganging up on this like middle-aged black dude and everything. And some people were upset about the racial part immediately. But I'm not going to lie. I was distracted. I wasn't. I didn't hate these people because they were ganging up on them and they were white. I hated them because they had a boat. You know what I mean? This isn't just a race thing. These rich fucks with a boat are trying to beat up a working class person. Is insane. You know, made me furious. And then they started fighting them, and then like other people came. And, you know, a lot of black people already saw what was happening. So then when the riverfront boat docked and other black people who saw what was happening, they all just swarmed. It looked like, like that one episode in Game of Thrones where, you know, they were losing, but then just more just came down the mountain. It was like, I was like, God damn, okay, wow. Send in the troops, apparently. I should back up. When the fight started, the initial fight where the dude was getting ganged up on, he just threw his hat. Just threw it, and that almost felt like a signal. That was, as a black person, I didn't know that was our call to arms. I didn't know this was like, oh, okay, all right, we go now. That was wild to begin with. Then it was crazy because then so many people swarmed in, it turned into a huge brawl. And I don't know if you saw a video, but there was one person that wanted to help when they saw him getting jumped so badly that this nigga swam. Jumped in the water. From the camera angle, we don't know where he came from. I'd like to think he came from Africa. I'd like to think he started swimming 6 weeks ago in preparation. Because look, if you know, the history of black people swimming, especially in the South, you know that we're not known for it. You know what I mean? And so I'm not gonna critique his swimming because I was just happy to see another black dude swim. That's just, every one of us swimming is a W, okay? But I do have to comment because he wasn't swimming normal. Did you see him swim? He wasn't swimming regular. This was not regular swimming, right? This man wasn't swimming to the fight. This man was punching the water till he got there. I knew he was gonna whoop ass when he got out of the water because he would. I've never seen someone punch water till they got to their location. That was so crazy. Go back and watch the video. This man punching with horsepower. Like, I've never seen anything like it. And then he gets out of the water, starts whooping ass, everybody whooping ass and everything. So you know that those white people, when it started fighting, then started more fighting, you know they were relieved when the cops got there, but they must have been conflicted because half the cops were black. Like that's a situation where even when the cops arrive, you're like, ooh, whose side are you on? Because I was kind of doing a thing before you got here. You know what I mean? Honestly, that's what's so wild. Because I think also, I've tried to put my mind I've tried to put myself in the mind of each person that was in the video in a way. Do you know what I mean? Because that's a terrifying thing. To get jumped is a terrifying thing. Then the person swimming. Then I'm just trying to think about every angle that I could think about it from. I'm not gonna lie, that must have been a huge surprise, because you out here ganging up on this one dude with your buddies, and then before you know it, there's just like 50 black people. That's listen, I'm telling you right now, let's say y'all just blinked, and when you opened your eyes, there were 50 black people behind me. I'm not even saying you'd be scared, but you'd be surprised. You'd be like, wow, that was fast. That's all you'd say. You know? Because that's the thing. That's, I think, the strangest part, one of the weirdest parts, like when you start watching the video. Let's say you start watching the video, you had no context, nobody told you what was gonna happen, you hadn't seen any of the memes yet. The craziest thing about what happens is that, especially as a black person, I think some people are curious why black people have been memeing the shit out of it and everything. It's because if you know the South and you know the history of 5 white guys ganging up on a black guy and how that usually goes, you know, especially when they have enough money for a boat. Usually doesn't turn out well, you know what I mean? And so this was a different thing. This is a different outcome than we've ever really seen before, you know? Because I'll be honest with you. Let's say we're in a different time and there's no camera phones and they were able to leave before the cops got there. They would have just beat up that dude and left. You know? And that's my thing, where it's like, okay, yeah, whoop their ass, we all laugh, we all celebrate, whatever, but like, fuck up that boat. Like, fuck up the... What are you doing? Like, bust up the bow or something. Like, rip a rudder out, please. I do think that would hurt them more than the ass whooping. They just be standing there and looking like skippers. Not the boat! You know? I used to work at a grocery store in a bad neighborhood. This is a terrible job. I lived in Chicago and I worked at this grocery store, so it was horrible, right? And the thing I hate most about working at a grocery store is not good is the security not good. Because then security, anytime something would happen, the security would walk up to me and talk about what we're gonna do about it. Bro, I do this. You do this. And, all right, look, just hear me out. There was a guy who would come into our store, and he didn't come in often. It'd be like once every 2 months, maybe even once every 4 months if you were lucky. But this guy was crazy. And when he came in, he'd come in and he would fuck the lettuce. I know you're wondering how, let me explain. It didn't have to just be lettuce, but it was anything he could cut a hole in, he'd go to town, right? I worked there. What are y'all groaning about? I had to see this. And so this dude, man, he would come in, cut a hole, go to town. Security guard come up to me. Security guard came up to me one time and was like, he's back. I was like, that's a you problem. And I don't know. This, like, dude was clearly not all there in the head and everything, but yeah, he would just come in, he'd catch a melon or something like that, and just make juice. Like, this dude was. I know. But a security guard came up to me and was like, he's back, so I'm gonna need your help. I was like, all right, what do you need me to do? And he was like, so we're gonna walk on either side of him, right? We're gonna walk, so he's here, we're gonna walk either side, so we're sort of like, and he was like, I'm gonna need you to run interference. And he said it like it was a real thing. I should know what that means or whatever. And so we get to the point where we're both walking either side of him. And he looks over at me. This dude is distracted. This dude doesn't know what's going on in the world. This dude is fully with the lettuce, right? And locked in. And the security guard go. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, he's acting like he gave me a plan. There's no plan. I don't know what this means. And so he's like, So finally, I just yell out, I'm like, hey, do fucking the lettuce. And that dude turned around and faced me. And when he faced me, I was like, tackle him. And then he did. He tackled him. Got that dude to the ground. And you gotta give credit where credit is due, okay? You do. To the security guard and to this dude, because this dude was so hard when he got up, the lettuce was still on him. That is crazy. I don't know if I've ever been that hard in my life. This dude got up. Hands being held. Like, it's not like he can help out for a quick second. Terrifying. I've been thinking a lot about the way that that couples fight. Do you know what I mean? Like the way, just the tactics we use, and like, look, I want to be clear. I truly believe this. I've even said on stage before. Everybody is doing everything. Don't like listen to people getting in your ear. Everybody's doing everything. Everybody gaslights. Everybody, all this stuff like that. So I'm not saying that one thing can only be to one person with one identity. I'm just saying, like, I've just watched, and I feel like I just don't like fighting in a relationship, because I date women, and women wait. It's terrifying. Women will let you think you want a whole fight, and then it's coming soon. And you don't even know what it is. It's not been planned yet, but it's gonna happen. My uncle got in an argument with his wife, and I don't even know what it was about, but must have been feeling himself, because when the argument was done, he'd walk around, man of the house. He middle-aged, so he pulling that belt up a little higher. And sure enough, he called me one day. This is apparently weeks after the fight. My man calls me, and he's like, I'm gonna need you to pick me up. I need you to pick me up, come get me, I need some help, young blood, like I just said. And I was like, what's wrong? And he's like, okay, so we had a little argument, all right? So we had a quick little argument, and I thought everything was fine, but it's the day to take me to the optometrist, because I broke my glasses, and she talking about she not gonna take me. And I told her, I'm like, baby, I'm blind. Come on now. And she over here talking about you don't deserve to see. Like, y'all been phenomenal. Thank you so much. I'm Josh. that shower sex is even like possible. Like that's... What are we doing? Who are we trying to impress? It's us. We know what we're capable of. And we know exactly how slippery a tub is. Trying to have shower sex is right up there with trying to have sex on tightrope. You just over here. Hopefully you gonna slip and accidentally do something good. Whoever's idea this was is the devil, because what possessed us? What video did we watch where we're like, I can do that too? It's never a good idea, ever, even if you got the bath mat. Because what people don't tell you about that tub mat, it's got little suction cups at the bottom, but with enough pressure, it will slip right off. And so you standing on it, believing in it. Next thing you know, you wake up concussed. That's one of my greatest fears, to have some sort of, be trying to smash and get some sort of energy that like, I can do it. And then injure myself and give her the ick for the rest of life. I think if you fall during shower sex, the other person gets an automatic divorce if they want one, because it's already not sexy in the shower. You think you're gonna fall sexy too? It won't happen. One foot gonna go this way, the other foot gonna go that way. You gonna grab the towel rack. Fighting for your life right now. Naked, fighting for your life. Over here swinging legs. I've slipped in the shower by myself and I've screamed every time. Imagine now, we in the shower together. I'm trying to lay down some pipe, all right? And then behind you, you hear, whoa! If I fall during shower sex, I better die. Because the last thing I need is to try to pick myself up with a black eye from hitting my face just right. Going like, do you want to try again? Over here concussed. There's certain things we gotta stop. We gotta let go of. You know, we'd be happier for it. Because everybody want to tell you about, come back from the honeymoon and give you all the tea, all the sexcapades, young, newlyweds, still spry, still got good knees, good hips. Because we don't talk about the small muscles. Okay, I once tore my right glute trying to get out of the shower. You ever lost your right ass before? It changed everything. I had to sit on a donut. Do you know what it's like to be in your early 20s sitting on a donut? People look at you like something really wrong. People look at you like you barely hanging on. It's devastating. And it was just off of a random movement. I was getting out of the shower and just a little oh, you know what I mean? And at first I didn't think anything of it. Got out of the shower, dried off and everything. And then I went to sit down on the bed. I was like, uh-oh. I genuinely could not bend past here. Every night when I went to bed, I just had to fall into bed. Couldn't even get comfortable. I had to get my roommate to lift the covers and let me fall. And then he would cover me up. And I would just be like that until he came and got me. These were horrible circumstances. There was one day, we used to get up around the same time to go to work, and then one day he overslept. I had to scream. I had to scream for him to come get me. This man waking up, realize he late. I hear him in the other room, oh shit, and then like grabbing. I hear all the movements. I hear all the clamoring. He's putting his clothes on and everything. And I'm like, hey, hey. Heard the door close. I was like, guess I got to call in today. Don't sleep on the small muscles. Okay, take good care of yourself. You know? Don't let somebody pressure you into shower sex you know you're not capable of. It'll even happen where maybe somebody texting, so maybe doing a little sexting, right? I like to keep my sexting grounded. Let's not talk about stuff we know is never gonna happen. If you bring up shower sex to me while we are sexting, I will block you. I have no problem doing it. What a weird thing to stand on. No, she cute, but she brought up tubs. I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. She had to go. I had to kick her to the curb, all right? Anything to do with porcelain, that's too freaky for me. I don't like that. I don't know how you were raised, but I'm a Christian. Do y'all know like a scary kid? Like you can't bring it up because they're like your friend's kid, but you don't want to be left alone with them. Because as soon as everybody leave the room, they look at you, but they can't just look at you. They look at you with their whole body. My friend, okay, so I have a friend who he had a kid, like what, 6, 7 years ago. His kid's gotta be, about 6 or 7. And anytime I go over to their house, kid will be playing or something. And now it's at least at the point that the kid can play video games or something like that. But even when he was just playing with blocks and stuff, my friend would like leave the room to go get something. And then the kid would just look at me, but he wouldn't just look at me with his eyes. He'd look at me with his whole body. He would just turn like, and I was like, and this is what scared me about that, right? Okay, so when I was alone with the kid and he'd be playing with the blocks, he'd be sitting, flipping the blocks and everything and like knocking them over, building them up, knocking them over, being all cute and everything. And then my friend would leave the room and he wouldn't just turn on his little butt or something to look at me. He would stand up and turn. But then when his parents came back in, he'd sit back down like he didn't know how to stand. And that was very freaky. Because I would tell them, I'm like, hey, is he like standing up and running around and stuff? And they're like, not yet. So now I know I've been left alone with a demon, because why are you only walking to scare me, Didn't matter what it was. As soon as they walked out of the room, he'd pop up. Wouldn't even talk baby to me, just be like, I don't know what he wants. There was one time I was at their house and he was like in front of the TV, and then I went to the kitchen and they were, I don't know where they were, but then out of nowhere I turned in the kitchen and he's standing at the kitchen door, and I'm not gonna lie, I shouldn't even admit this, but just out of panic I almost punted that kid. I almost like, imagine, just please imagine for me that you going around the house just doing your regular thing, right? And then out of nowhere, a child that no one thinks can walk is just standing behind you. It's like, what in the boss baby is happening right now?
I'm very excited to see Dune 2, because I think it's going to be a phenomenal movie. A lot of people like Dune, and I haven't heard anyone who saw Dune 2 have a bad thing to say about it. And I know it's a good movie because it's a good story. And I know it's a good story because growing up, it was the only time that I ever saw a dumb kid with a thick book. Dune is very thick. And they were always a bookmark deep into that book. Deeper than you can get in the Bible. Like the Dune might have more pages now that I think about it. And they would always finish it. I'm like, this must be an incredible story, you know? As adults, I think that we see the world in an objective way, because we're old enough now to have enough discernment to pull information in and decide how we feel about it, right? But I don't think that we see the world objectively, because I think by the time you're an adult, it's not that it's too late, but just too much has happened. You got too many biases, you have so much trauma, you have a lens you see the world through. That's why the only people who I think see the world the way it is are kids. Because they don't have all those filters, there's no like veil yet. That's why they take things so literally. You know? They'll be like, that's what you said, that must be what it is, right? Like when I was growing up, when I was learning to read, I was in class with a kid who misunderstood the meaning of sound it out, right? So instead of going chair, right? He would go, ooh! 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 Chair. And that kid finished Dune, all right? I can't even judge him though, because I did the same thing in a different way. You know, when I was little, I played t-ball for a little while, and when we were playing t-ball, you know, coach, parents, everybody would say, keep your eye on the ball. Keep your eye on the ball, right? And I took it literally. Keep your eye on the ball. Now, we didn't have a big league of kids, and so sometimes we had to play the same team a couple times in one year, right? And there was one kid that really shouldn't have been playing. I don't know how many times he had been held back, but this was an adult. This was... You know that thing they talk about people always trying to do in the World Series? They were doing it in my local t-ball league, okay? This kid looked like he had a full-time job, and he would come up to the plate, and he was so good. Like, on top of being big, he was good. And, you know, T be right here, the ball would be right here, and he always managed to, like, crack the ball, not just, like, over, not just up, but, like, up, like really, like truly under to pop it up into the air, right? And I remember one time he did it. One time you could hear it. Hear the pop off that metal bat and the ball flying into the air. And I was keeping my eye on the ball. And the ball looked like it was gonna go into space. It got hard to keep my eye on the ball for a second, because like the clouds are white, the ball is white, and the ball is in the clouds. And then it starts to come down a little bit. I'm like, oh, I see it, okay. And I keep my eye on the ball. And then it's getting closer. But I keep my eye on the ball. And then it gets so close, I'm a little concerned, but like my coaches and my parents have been telling me, I keep my eye on the ball. And then the ball is in my eye. No one ever said catch the ball. They said keep your eye on the ball was the most important thing, and that's what I did. So then I crash to the ground, and he gets a home run because I'm laying next to the ball.
All right, he is the newest news correspondent for The Daily Show. He's hilarious. You're going to love him. Put your hands together for Josh Johnson.
Okay. I don't know if y'all heard about that dude in Wisconsin that faked his death and maybe moved to Europe. If you haven't heard about this, great. Okay, so basically, what we know is that supposedly there was a man who faked his death and might be in Europe right now. And he has a family, right? 3 kids, a wife, and everything. And one thing we usually don't do as men is give a man the credit that we owe him for being the new bottom, like the new lowest common denominator. Like, as men, we need this man. We need him, all right? You know, anytime you mess up as a man, when there's a man near you who has messed up worse, you be like, hey, I could be that guy. You know, next time you forget a birthday or something, be like, baby, look, I'm sorry I messed up. But you know what I didn't do is fake my death and move to Europe. Some people do that. I love you and I would never. If I die, it'll be for real. I'm a good man. When I die, it will be of an ulcer or something. You know what I mean? Something where you've really held the pain in, didn't talk to anybody, didn't try to do anything about it. You know, real man stuff. I'm gonna do what men are supposed to do. I'm gonna support this family, not go to therapy, hold it all in. And then one day grab my chest like, and you'll know that maybe, hey, maybe we should have left this one argument alone, right? Because I would never fake my death and move to Europe. I've done plenty of things, plenty of dumb things. Sometimes I'm just like having a good day, not really paying attention, and then you come in and you haven't had a good day. So you're telling me all the things that happened in your day that were not good. And instead of listening, I'm just sort of nodding, right? I'm just sort of nodding and being like, Different versions of like tasting something when you're telling me a story. And then you catch on that I'm not listening. So you ask me, what did I just say? And then I say, what did I just say? And you can tell I haven't been listening. And I know I should listen. I know that you're telling me this to vent because you trust me and you want my input on your day, right? I know that I let you down, but you know what I didn't do is fake my death and move to Europe. I'm not saying it makes me a hero, but it definitely stops me from being a villain. Oh, as men, that's one of our favorite things. When you mess up, but then somebody messed up next to you and it's way worse. You know, it's like when you go out to eat, go out to a nice dinner, you know, you take your lady out and you're having a good time and everything. And then something comes up, maybe it's a little annoying, and maybe you start to like bicker a little bit, you know, just like at the table, in between the server checking on you, just a little bit of like, well, you don't even know what's fun. You know that. Oh yeah, you know that good whispering. You know that in between your teeth, not here. You know, you got both on edge and everything, so you in between the teeth, and she's over here saying everything, but just at that level of like half miming, half voicing, just like, I'm just trying to keep things together, okay? I'm just trying to keep the whole family together. Server comes up, is like, can I get y'all anything? Oh, no, we're fine. Oh, this is a good night. How are you doing? How's your night going? And it's tough, you know, because you'll be in the moment just bickering. And then out of nowhere, a couple next to you, the next table over, that haven't been bickering, the couple that you look at like, why can't we be like them? She stands up and she throws wine in his face. And she's like, what do you mean your mistress is pregnant? And now all of a sudden you're like, I'm pretty good, right? Like I'm a pretty good guy. Huh? Can you give me that? I didn't do all that? Like, you got the white wine, you wouldn't have even stained my shirt. Like, I would never put you through that, what those strangers are going through right now. And so it's good. It's good to have a new low as a man. You know I'm telling the truth. You know sooner or later you're gonna be in an argument and you're like, fine, all right, I'm no prize. But I'm here, right? Huh? I'm not in Europe, am I? I talk to you when we have a problem. I talk to you like a man. I don't hide my wallet on the shore. Yeah, this guy apparently faked his death and moved to Europe. And like, there's a lot of layers here. There's a lot of things to unpack, because let's also not pretend that there's never a reason to fake your death. All right, before we pass full judgment, I'm not saying this dude isn't a piece of shit for doing what he did. I'm saying that, like, there are reasons in life to fake your death. I'll go over some of them right now. Y'all look like you don't believe me. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, back in the day when I was in Chicago, I was hanging out with some friends. This is like about 5, 6 of us, right? And one of my friends, we're all in our like early 20s, by the way. One of our friends bought a yo-yo. And like gentlemen, none of us mentioned it. None of us were like, we are out here trying to get the ladies and you brought a yo-yo. You bringing the whole vibe down. And he brought his yo-yo and he was doing all the tricks. You know what I mean? You know, making it sleep and then popping it back up like a superpower. You know what I'm talking about? Those like... Because he had the one that had the like little acrylic with the lights. Yes, it had the lights and the little acrylic sound like it would do the like when it was at the bottom. And if you ever want to hear the sound of women leaving, it's that. And so he's like, and then he was doing around the world, and he was doing all the like walk the dogs and stuff like that. He was really good if you were 15. And so then, you know, he finally does one, and it comes back to shoot up, but it passes his hand and it hits him in the face, right? And he's hurt. Okay, you ever been hurt so bad that you couldn't make noise? It hit him, right? And instead of even screaming, he just was like, oh. It's that hurt where you just have to slap something to like transfer some of the hurt while you're hurting. It didn't hit him and fly. It's in his mouth, by the way. Like it's stuck. We're still looking at it. He didn't move it. It's where his mouth should be. It's just a yo-yo, and he's like. And then he spits out the yo-yo, and a tooth flies out with it. And if he had faked his death, I would get it. If he was like, I need to start over from here, I would understand. Like, I really do get it, how people get to that place where they gotta fake their own death, because this was very hurtful and embarrassing. Or
just a guy. I saw this guy online, and he had this weird energy about him, and it happens to dudes sometimes. And he was like that dude at the club that shouldn't be at the club. And I don't mean like he's old or something. I mean, he has an unsettling energy where he's trying to be more fun than anyone knows that he is. You know what I mean? Like, you know that guy that's like, whoa, but it's like no woo is happening. We've all been around that person, like, yeah, and it's like, but it's a barbecue. I don't know why you are trying to bring all this extra. And so that's what he was doing. He was in this club. He's like, yeah, woo, woo, and like, there's not even that many people there, so there's nothing to lay cover. There's not even enough noise for like his energy versus what's actually happening, because people are just kind of casually dancing, and he, yeah. And then there's a woman that is like near the stairs, right? And I don't know what the stairs lead to, maybe the bathroom or something like that, but this woman is near the stairs, and she's like twerking along the wall, and she's like really got it going, like she's very good, right? And then this guy walks up, and he's like, yeah, and he like slaps her ass a couple times, and then starts doing this and everything, and then goes to go down the stairs. But then, right as he goes to go down the stairs, his feet give up. His feet decide that they don't want to be a part of him, right? And so rather than walking down the stairs, this man trips with both his feet. I've never seen anything like this in my entire life. This man trips with both his feet and then rides just his knees and shins down the stairs. And when I say rides, I mean, like, have you ever been on a sled? It's like that. It's exactly like that, but without the sled. He's just riding down, Home Alone style, just... And he's screaming, and you can barely hear him scream because the music is loud, but he's screaming so because he's riding his knees and shins down every step. They did not miss a step. Every knee hit every stair, and his shins hit all of the stairs. And so he's like, like a bird, right? Screaming like a bird the entire way down. He hits every step. And for some reason, I don't know why he thought it would help, but he's holding the handrail the whole time. And he's like, And if that guy faked his death, you would get it. You would be like, yeah, you gotta start over. You gotta start, I would say move to a place that doesn't even have music. Like, you gotta do some different things. Move to a plateau. That's the type of, don't even have any elevation where you live, because what if you have to go upstairs again? We don't know if you'll make it down. When I was growing up, I knew a kid who was dating someone for a long time. They started dating young, right? And it was very sweet. And it was in the same, how do you put this? It was in the same way that, like, you hear grandparents tell stories about falling in love. Is how he fell in love. Because he said early on, I'm going to marry this girl, right? And he had to have been like 18, something like that. I'm going to marry this girl. He said it early, right? And he did the thing that we look at as like the most romantic thing possible, buys a ring within a year, but doesn't do anything with, waits years. I bought the ring when I was 19. We're dating, we're 23. I bought the ring years ago because I was sure, I know, right? And they have their little fights and stuff like that. They have little spats and stuff. But then one day he decides, like, yeah, this is it. And he takes her on a trip, right? And they go on a trip that's like kind of the woods. I don't know. They rented a cabin. But they have their little fights on the way and everything. And overall, it's a nice time, They cook.
They watch a movie and everything, and he decides he's going to propose to her while they're sitting on the couch when they get done watching one of her favorite movies. They both cooked, but then he had a cupcake. He put the ring in the cupcake, and they were going to share a cupcake, and whenever she got to the middle, that's where the ring would be, he would ask her, right? And he had the whole thing planned out, and he even had his speech planned out per bite, because he was going to take these little bites and then, bite, ring, right? And so he starts it, and he's like, hey, I want to talk to you about something. Takes a little bite, passes it to her, and she's like, what? Takes a big bite. To say they're supposed to be sharing takes an inconsiderate bite. Like this, like when you're a couple and you order something and they're like, can I have a little bit of yours? And you're like, sure. And then they slide a whole more than a little off your plate onto their plate. And you're like, you should have said half then. If you want half, say half. Don't say a little bit when you know it's half. Because you like my orders because I know how to order. You over here experimenting, trying to have an experience, and then you don't like what you got. Now you want half of what I have, which would normally be fine, but you said a little bit. If you said split, then we good. You say split, then we're splitting. That's what half is, splitting. You said a little bit, and now I don't even know what it tastes like because you didn't pick up, because mine came first and you went ahead and picked off mine, then took half when you got yours. So now I've had at least a seventh of the meal that I ordered that I think is good, but I don't remember how it tastes because it just sort of left my memory so fast. And so she's taking these big bites, so he got to take smaller bites, and he got to turn the cupcake when he passes it back to her to make sure her bites don't interfere with his speech, because now he got to hurry up the speech because the bites are too big. And so now he handing her the thing from the bottom, just bite this part. I'm almost done. And when he hands her what's basically a ring cupped in a little bit of cupcake to try to bite, at the same time that he says, will you marry me, she says, I think we should break up. And so if you want to fake your death, like that's kind of like the opportune moment to be like, oh yeah, you want to break up, and I wanted to I'll be right back, and then just move to Europe, I suppose. But yeah, so this dude in Wisconsin faked his death, maybe moved to Europe, and the way he did it, this is my thing, okay? So, first of all, he goes on a kayaking trip alone, right? Which, to be fair, is very much missing activity. You know what I mean? That should actually be in the brochure. Hey, do you want to get away from everything forever? Come kayaking by yourself. This dude goes kayaking by himself, actually texts his wife on like the 11th, and it's like, hey, heading back, whatever, right? But then doesn't head back. On the 12th is when he supposedly would have capsized, or, they think he may have drowned or something like that. They put on this whole search because by the 13th, his family hasn't heard from him. They're concerned, right? So they send out the search, and like a search of volunteers who search acres and search the water. They use sonar. They use all this technology to try to find this dude. And there's actually a dude that works with the organization that does the searching that tells the sheriff, hey, listen, this is weird, because I'm not saying if I can't find him, he can't be found. I'm just saying I'm pretty good at what I do, and he either not in this water or he went missing somewhere else, because I know what I do. Like I'm very good at this, and we're not seeing anything. We're not seeing any signs, anything. And then, sure enough, they decide to go ahead and look into a possibility of him maybe going missing somewhere else. They also run his name just to make sure, right? And when they run his name, they find that he went to Canada on the 13th, right? So, not missing, using his name, running his name so they can travel, maybe go to Europe through Canada, right? And this is where it starts to be clear that he does not know how to disappear.
This is where it's clear he's watched a lot of TV but has not put in the work, because this is what this bonehead did. Okay, so basically, this man said that his passport was lost because his passport's at home, right? Because I've disappeared, I'm missing, I might have died, right? But his passport's at home. What he did was he just put in for a new passport so that he'd have a passport to leave behind and to use. The only problem is that when they run your name, it's still you. What kind of dumb spy move is that? That's still your name. That's like getting pulled over and handing the cop a fake ID. You still in the car. Like this. And then his wife goes through his computer and stuff, and they find everything. They basically find where this dude has like looked up how to exchange money into a foreign bank. He's looked up how to travel, how to disappear. And this is my worry. I have the feeling that this dude thought that he covered all his tracks because he put everything in the recycle bin. And then left it there. Like that, I genuinely think that's what happened. I think this dude was just moving files like, and they'll never catch me. I'm a mastermind. It's painful, right? So they find everything, and then his wife gives it to the police and stuff, and the police are like, oh, okay, yeah, this is pretty dumb, They even find where he took out a life insurance policy for like, I think $375,000, something like that. And this moment was where I had a journey in how I felt about this dude. Because initially when I heard it, I was like, what a terrible person, right? But then when I heard about the life insurance policy, I was like, wait, maybe I'm judging too quickly. Because if this dude is leaving a life insurance policy for his family, maybe he's just trying to make a clean break. Maybe this dude is like, look. I'm not a good father anyway. Let's at least part ways like this. Let me go ahead and get you some money for your trouble, and I'll go and I'll live in Europe and everything. Most dads leave for free. This dude... There's a high likelihood that this dude was like, let me break you off some bread, right? I'm going to start a new life. You could go through college for free. And then I saw what it doesn't look like he's tried to claim the life insurance policy, which would also be insane. That would be, I don't know much about insurance, and I don't like insurance companies, but that would be hella out of pocket to show up and be like, y'all, I died. I'd like the money from me dying, please. See, the policy says right here, if I died, this is how much whoever gets, and whoever is me and I died. So can you please make the check out to me? And so then I went back and forth. I was like, oh, maybe. No, actually, no, he's just a bad person. Just a bad dude. Faking his death, leaving his wallet, leaving his kayak, leaving his family. And then they find that apparently he's been talking to someone. He didn't just try to leave. Because that's another thing. When I thought he was just trying to leave, I was like, okay. It's not how you handle it. But some people, they have an episode. They're like, I need to get away. I don't know how, But then when I found out, like his family found out, that he left to be with some lover in Uzbekistan. That's also when my feelings sort of went up and down, because I was like, oh, you're not even doing it in some like I can't live this life sort of way. You know what I mean? Like you're not having a midlife crisis in that way. You're just trying to cheat. All right, no, I can't get down with this. But a part of me momentarily did feel bad for him, because I was like, wait, you met a woman in Uzbekistan.
Oh, he's never been catfished before. This is my thing. I don't know if y'all have seen, you don't have to tell me if you know what I'm talking about. We can all just act innocent. But there are, in this world, illicit sites. Illicit sites where you go to watch people the beast with two backs. And then in these sites are ads for local singles in your area. Or even better, ads for very willing women who would love to marry you in Russia and Uzbekistan. I think my man may have fallen for one of these ads. That or he's been watching too much 90 Day Fiancé, because I feel like, come on now, how well do you know this person? And so now you faked your death to go to Europe to be with someone who might not even be real. That's wild. You gonna blow up your whole life for some text messages? I mean, really, how good are those texts? You know what I mean? No one found a picture. No one knows what this person looks like. They just know that someone enticed him in some bad English. And now he's headed over there. And I don't know. I feel like you clearly have to be in a bad place to do something like this. You have a family, you know what I mean? You have people that depend on you, and you're about to throw it all away to go to a place I'm sure you can't spell. Because never forget, this man is an American. That's also what you have to keep in mind here. He over here trying to travel as an American, try to get help in English and stuff. People in Romania speaking Romanian. He doesn't understand it. He's like, I just need to get to Uzbekistan. Do you know how to go left in Europe? Now he gets over there. Who knows what life is waiting for him, you know? I'd like to think that this woman in Uzbekistan really does exist. And she's mad as hell right now. She's like, no, we were supposed to go to America. Are you serious? You can't live with me. Because that's what would be, truly wild. If this dude comes back defeated. Just comes back to his family and is like, listen, y'all, look, I know what I did. I'm very sorry. Can you take me back? I've found, a new life here with you. I just want to be back with my family. Because obviously I hope this doesn't happen. But it would be kind of funny if while he's missing this whole time, he comes back home and his wife kills him. That would that'd be crazy. This dude show back up at his doorstep and his wife already got the shotgun and everything. He's like, baby, no. He's like, baby, I don't talk to ghosts.